I'm Kento Bento.
Quick test. Here are 6 different yet common ways people hold chopsticks. Can you spot the correct method? You probably narrowed it down to these 2, and you'd be right. They're very similar, but it's this one that is correct. If you hold your chopsticks like this, give yourself a pat on the back. If not, that's okay too, because it's probably more common than you think. Observing your own chopstick grip, you may have wondered why you chose the method that you did, why you ended up holding it like this, or even this. I'll be getting into that soon, but first, some context. Around the world, 40% of us use our hands to eat, 30% use knives and forks, and the remaining 30% use chopsticks. Most chopstick users are from East and Southeast Asia, with China, Korea, and Japan being the big 3. Actually, China and Korea often pair chopsticks with spoons, so it is really only Japan where everything is pretty much eaten with chopsticks. Despite this, many Asian people and even Japanese people hold their chopsticks incorrectly. According to Meiji University in Tokyo, over 2/3 of people above the age of 30 did not or could not hold their chopsticks correctly, and it gets even worse for the younger generation. If you're a Westerner struggling with chopsticks, perhaps you don't need to feel too bad. On the other hand, if you want to master using chopsticks to this level, you might want to start practicing the right way. Okay, now let's get into the why. Using chopsticks would have come naturally to some of you, but not so much to others. Your ability or inability can be due to a combination of factors. Here's the first one: initial hunger. The first few times you used chopsticks, how crazy hungry were you? Were you so hungry that you didn't really care how you grabbed the food, so as long as you could shovel it into your mouth? Or were you only kind of hungry, not minding the 20 or so seconds it may have taken to figure out the most efficient technique? Whatever the case, it's likely some variation of your initial chopstick grip has stayed with you till today. The next one plays an even bigger role: finger dexterity. Some people just find it easier to move their fingers in all directions, and with coordination. That's my hand there. Kind of freaky. See if you can do this. Straighten out your fingers and have your index finger sit on top your middle finger like that. Then straighten out the joint. Easy? Okay, then move it 1 finger down. Do the same with the middle finger sitting on top your ring finger. Straighten out the joint. If you found this movement hard, then holding your chopsticks the correct way might have been a challenge. If you want, you can move 1 finger down yet again, your ring finger on your pinky. This last one doesn't really affect your chopstick skills, but it is fun to try. By the way, these movements do get easier with practice. If you're a pro, try switching hands. By this point, I have to stop recording for 5 minutes because of cramps. I'm back. Moving on to the next one: pencil grip. Quite often, the way you hold a pencil or pen influences your chopstick grip. This may seem obvious, as it is well known that you're supposed to hold the top chopstick similar to a pencil, with the bottom stick sliding into this position. Only the top one should be moving. But what happens if your pencil grip is wrong to start with? Maybe you hold it like this, or like this. In this case, there's a chance it will be reflected in your chopstick grip. Left-handers have it the worst though. Writing has always been an issue for various reasons, and as such, you can expect many lefties to have wackier chopstick styles. Parental guidance is also a factor. How obsessive were your parents at making sure you held the chopsticks correctly? If you have the classic Asian parents, you may have been constantly reminded. They also probably made you feel bad for using your left hand, but as a result, you likely ended up holding your chopsticks quite well, although possibly having developed parental issues along the way. Anyway, conversely, if your parents didn't really care about this kind of stuff, you might have grown up in a family of rather liberal chopstick users. This last one you might not have thought of, but the type of chopsticks you're used to could have shaped your technique. The 3 main types of chopsticks are Chinese, Japanese, and Korean chopsticks, with Southeast Asian chopsticks being quite similar to the Chinese. The Chinese chopsticks are the thickest and longest of them all, often made with bamboo or melamine, and with a thick flat tip. You can see these melamine ones in most Chinese restaurants. The chopsticks are bulkier to handle, and the material is very slippery and smooth, which can sometimes make grabbing food a challenge. So if these are the chopsticks you're familiar with, your chopstick grip may have adjusted for these shortcomings. Perhaps you position the sticks wider to create more pressure when grasping the food. Or you hold the chopsticks higher, which can be more difficult to handle, but distributes the melamine weight more adequately for the fingers. On a side note, and this is for any type of chopstick, you may see many non-Asians or chopstick newbies going the other end, as this gives more control despite the poor weight distribution. I should mention that one benefit for the larger Chinese chopsticks is that you can grab more food at once. Japanese chopsticks are smaller and lighter in comparison. They're often made of wood, and here you can see it tapers into a point. This allows for a higher level of precision and versatility. It is said that it was designed this way to pick out tiny fish bones from whole fish. Whatever the reason, the Japanese chopsticks, with all its advantages, may have an unexpected downside. One might not always feel the need to hold chopsticks correctly, as a poor technique can still get the job done, especially since in Japanese cuisine, food is often prepared bite-sized, perfect for chopstick use. Korean chopsticks are the most difficult to use. They're flatter, have a blunt tip, and are made of stainless steel, metal, which makes it quite heavy and frictionless. I'm not as familiar with these chopsticks, so I'm not exactly sure of the relationship with different grips, but in South Korea, as with most places, you'll see a fair number of people holding it incorrectly. On a side note, if you're from Singapore or Malaysia, you'll notice many people don't see this as the correct method. Instead, it's something like this. I'm not sure how it evolved that way, but if you have any insight on the matter, let me know in the comments. Okay, let's go back for a second, back to the myriad of ways people hold their chopsticks. You may be wondering how your chopstick method stacks up with everyone else's. Is it closer to this end? Or do you hold it like a dork? I will be analyzing the 10 most common incorrect ways to hold chopsticks in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed to get that. But if you want to know the 10 reasons why Asians don't get fat, you can find that out by clicking the video on top. Otherwise, click the one below if you prefer something else. I hope you enjoyed this topic, and if you have any questions or thoughts, let us know down below. Thanks for watching, hit that like button, and stay tuned for more interesting Asian-y videos.